Hey everybody, happy someday and welcome back to this week's layout update. So the last update, I painted this river green and mostly green, as you can see. Some areas are lighter, some areas are darker. And tonight I'm going to go back through and darken everything up. So I'm gonna work from the edge to the shoreline. I'm gonna redo this scene here. I messed this up and I just let it dry really good so I can go back through and started having some issues with my paints drying up a little bit too fast, and I got them a little too wet when I diluted them. So I got to go back through and really redo a lot of this stuff. And that's okay because like I told you in the last video, work in layers, and you know, it's really bright on the camera and it's not that bright in person, but it'll be all right. But I got two other things I want to discuss with you before I get into painting. And I got about 8 minutes to talk about this stuff because my dinner's in the oven and almost done. So we're going to come down over here to the part of the layout that you don't really see too much. And this whole section that is all a big giant shelf right now for all this stuff will be the Virginian line. It curves around and goes up against the wall, climbs the grade, and goes up over there, and then goes to the second level on the peninsula that I have yet to build. So it's not really a priority right now. There's going to be a coal tipple here. There's going to be a pretty good ridge line or something right over here to block the Pensy, so you don't see that. And you'll be able to see the main line come down, but there'll be a small tipple here in this corner where the Harley windshield is. Over here, right in this area, will be another coal tipple. A little bit larger, but nothing like huge like that's going to be on the peninsula. Something small scale, but not quite, you know, a bigger operation, but not a giant operation. The main line will run through the ridgeline, hill, mountain, whatever you want to call it, that I'm going to put here. It'll be a big tunnel, basically, with the main line on there, so you can't see it, but the trains can still get through. So here is a 8-foot section right here to where the brown is right there. And I'm really thinking about dropping this section down about 8 inches because I'd like to have a, not a tall trestle, but maybe a little bit of a, I'm trying to think of what it's called. This, like a steel girdle bridge. That's what I'm thinking of, a steel girdle bridge. And it doesn't have to be really long. But my friend Dean gifted me a couple of steel girdle bridges that he built, and they're pretty nice. So I'd like to incorporate them somewhere on the layout, and I think this is a good spot for it. So I think I'm going to disconnect this 8-foot section, which is essentially a module. I will redo the ends where I can drop it down about 6 to 8 inches, and maybe even a little bit more than that, so I can have a little bit of depth in there. But I just got to figure out how to do it. And since this part of the layout's not really the priority yet, but it will be here come the springtime. So I need to get this stuff figured out before I do anything else. So if I drop this section here down and put in those 2 bridges, then the coal tipple will move back here, and then there'll be the second coal tipple over here. And this might be like a really small operation. I might even just do like the coal dump ramp or whatever it is. I'll post a picture at the end of the video if I remember. And if I forget, then I'll definitely post it onto the community side, and you can see what I'm talking about. But a real small operation. Basically, the dump truck will back up to an elevated platform and literally dump the coal from the truck straight into the hopper. And that might be a pretty good spot there. You know, 2 or 3 cars being loaded at a time. Nothing super serious. Okay, now here's the other big idea that I had, and we can start out by talking about I have or will have 3 major yards on the railroad. The first yard is, of course, Luther Yard right here. There on top of the peninsula will be a pretty good size coal tipple in operation, so most of the coal hoppers will probably sit up there and be transferred back and forth between there. And most of this section here will be Henthorn Yard, and this is going to be a pretty massive yard. It's going to hold probably 300 cars easy. But I don't have any staging on this railroad at all. And what I'm thinking about doing is coming off the track with the passenger cars right there, and having a helix right here. So the helix would basically go down. It'd only go down maybe 9 inches, 10 inches, and I'd have 3 or 4 staging tracks underneath of this whole section, going past that old stereo TV thing, and over to the white frame door that you can see at the top of the screen or middle of the screen, and then it would connect into the river harbor line that's over there, and then you could come back up the 3% grade and pop out over in that corner over there. I know that's just a whole lot of me, panning around talking about it, but that's just that's the way it is. There ain't no other way I can explain it. But I was thinking, maybe 4 or 5 tracks, probably. I think from the edge of the blue over there by the white frame to this box over at the right side of the camera is about maybe 35 feet, something like that, maybe 35 feet. So the staging tracks, the staging yard would only be about 35 feet long each track roughly. And, so I mean, that's what, 50, 60 cars, which wouldn't be bad, but you got that 3% grade to climb out going past the, on the river line or the harbor freight line or the harbor freight line. Well, the line is, okay, let me go back. I'm rambling a little bit. I'm pressed for time. I'm starving too. So the 3% grade goes down, of course, underneath the layout and then comes over to that wall that's not painted over there, the paneling wall. And there will be a like a river barge transload port type of scene. And then there will be a removable bridge by the white door frame, and that will go to the under layout staging for 5 tracks. Come around, helix this way up, and then come back onto the main line and go back this way. How's that? Does that sound a little better? That sounds a little better. So let me know what you think in the comments, and we are about to fade out and get the painting. So just sit right there, and here we go. All right, so I decided that tonight I would put on some clothes and come out here and paint for you tonight, and kind of show you what I was talking about when I apply the paint to the palette. I don't think I did a very good job describing it the other day, or the last video, I guess. And it is a challenge to actually do something, talk about it, and then do something else all at the same time, because my mind's racing, on what to say and what I'm doing. And sometimes, being a man, I got that gene that says that you have trouble multitasking. So I was describing applying the paint to the palette and mixing it, and I was probably very confusing about it. So let's go off and start off with what I have. I got my paintbrush. I just cleaned it out again. I got my palette, of course. I cleaned it off really good. I got my 3 colors I'm going to use, which is the hooker green, the darker green. I'm going to use Mars Black and Raw Umber tonight. And then I got my little bucket with some water in it, and just in case I need to thin everything out a little bit. And I'm hoping that I won't have to do that too much, but it's a little warm out here, and I think that's why there was some issues during the last video, and I ended up getting my paint just a little bit too wet. And basically what happened, I pretty much just got too much water in my brush. So even when I was trying to squeegee the water out of the brush, it still wasn't doing a very good job. So here we go. And somehow, even though I got this palette, and I got paint all over me anyway yesterday. I had it all over my hands. I don't know how that happened, but I got me a paper towel. Hopefully I won't have to use that. So I'm only going to paint just a small section, probably down here. I don't know if the camera is going to be, if you can see very well, because I only got one little spot that I can put that tripod that you can actually see what I'm doing. So we'll see what it looks like here in just a second. So I usually squirt out about an inch diameter, and I'm probably about maybe a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch high of paint, if that makes any sense. Look at that, got it on me already. Jesus. I'm gonna go with just about half of that. About half of that amount. I hope you can see that. Let me double check, make sure you can see that. Yeah, it ain't that bad. And then with the Mars Black, I'm gonna go with even less. So, because this stuff's actually pretty potent. And once again, if you don't get your mixture right, it's okay. Just, you know, add a little bit more green or add a little bit more, you know, whatever. And I'm gonna actually mix this up here just a little bit with this stick, but the rest of the time I'll be using my brush. And last time I did this, this is how I got my color to look the way I wanted it to. And I just made just adding a little bit at a time. Come on, get on there. And I had a buddy of mine tell me that, you know, he wouldn't have went with green, but green is the starting point, in my opinion. If you've seen any rivers or creeks in the Appalachian Mountains and Appalachian region, Alleghenies, hell, even down here in the Piedmont area of North Carolina, the rivers are like maybe a pea soup brown color. So there's a hint of green in there. So once again, this is the base color, not the final color. And you just kind of got to work with it. And, well, that's just, you just got to work with it. So that's not looking too bad. I'll set that up here. I'm gonna do this part right here for you, and then I'll go off camera because it's kind of tedious. It's pretty boring. I don't know. I don't really like the videos where people show the work, but they speed it up. I mean, it's okay, but at the same time, I'm like, you know, I don't need to watch you paint like at warp speed. So I don't know if that's your thing. Let me know in the comments, and I'll start doing that. I think I do know how to do that, actually. So let's start right here. I think I might need to have to start mixing up a lot more than that little amount because it don't seem to really last that long. I'm gonna go against the grain here, and then it'll feather this out a little bit, and then you go back with your normal lateral strokes. Kind of feel like Bob Ross. Did you know Bob Ross was an Air Force veteran? Died back in the mid-90s too. I didn't even know that. Still see him all over the place. Coffee mugs and YouTube. Now that, to me, looks a whole lot better. It still looks pretty green. I'll add a little bit more brown into the next one, and I'll bring you back here in a few minutes and show you how it looks here in a few minutes, I guess. So stand by, you fade right into it. I don't think it's looking too bad. It's a lot darker, a lot more pea soupish. Maybe even a hair too much black, Mars Black in there. When you come down closer, I think it's looking a lot better. It's a lot brighter in the camera than what it is in person, but we'll let the paint dry and we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. Once again, be very mindful of your brush strokes, because if you stop your brush stroke right in the middle of the water, like right in there, you're going to see a line there. I've tried my best to make really long sweeping brush strokes to eliminate that, but I'm sure there's still some in there someplace, but it'll be all right. Now, right here, this is, even though I painted this with a white primer, I think this is the wood grain underneath. I'm not quite sure. There's another spot right over here. That's the same thing, and I was really surprised that the wood grain would come out like that, and even though it's been primed, but we'll see. We'll see what happens next. All right, I'm gonna fade out here and paint some more, and maybe we'll get back here in this next little section. Just to remind everybody, if you didn't watch my last video or the one before that, this little bridge right here, right there, that water comes out of there, and the water flows towards the camera. So it should be darker for at least maybe 3 or 4 feet than the other side that I just painted. But, you know, I might mess that up and have to work on that a couple more times. But we'll see. We'll get it right here eventually. So go ahead and just sit back, wait about 2 seconds, and the next portion of the video will fade in. Appreciate you. All right, well, I got the camera a little off kilter. That's some southern. It means not level or plumb. And you see I've got it pretty dark here. To me, it looks darker than the area up there on this side. Comes in, it gets darker, and now I'm trying to fade it. This dark area of the wood where the grain's coming through, I'm going to use that to my advantage. I'm going to make it dark around here, and then I'm going to fade it back. But from this area, I'm going to start lightening it up, and it's going to be a little bit lighter in this area. So even though I got a little brown here, I'm using more green than I am brown. I still got a little black, but I can work all that out. A little bit of water. I've already had to use my napkin like 3 times to wipe it off of me. I don't know why I can't do anything without making a mess. Now, sometimes when you don't mix it very well, like I've been doing just now, you got to go side to side with it, and that will bring the darker colors and pull it towards the edge. And then all you got to do is just kind of brush your strokes against the, or with the current of the water, as I've been calling it, and it all kind of comes out and it kind of blends together a little bit better. So I'm gonna go a little lighter green, and mix it into what's already there, and go along the shoreline here and see how that looks. Now I'm gonna leave the bright green along the edge, because what I'm hoping is that when I put the rock or the dirt or stuff down there, that'll kind of look like algae or you know, moss, or you know, just nasty water a little bit. But we'll see. Now this part's dried a little bit more, so we'll see if I can't pull it out just a little bit. And then blend it. The worst part about this is you really don't know how it's going to look until it dries. So it's a mystery. So just like you watching it, I'm waiting for the result too. So we'll watch it together. I'm gonna paint a little bit more, and I'll bring you back here. So you can hit pause if you want, but it's gonna fade into the next episode. So stand by. All right. Well, I repositioned the tripod here, and I thought this was a good shot to show you the difference between the green I just put down and the green that was there yesterday. This is a different angle than what you've been watching, of course, and I think it's looking pretty decent. Like I said earlier, I don't know what I was going to look till tomorrow, but I think it's gonna look all right. Pretty confident here. Walk around here and look. Now, I haven't done any of this stuff, but it's actually darker than what I had done at the beginning of the scene to the far right of the camera or the screen. So I think this part's gonna go a lot quicker. I'm almost out of dark green or Hooker's green paint, so I hope I have enough to finish up. I got a feeling I'm gonna run out right about in here, but that's all right. Just a quick trip to Hobby Lobby, and I will have some more. But knowing my luck, they won't have any because half the time I go there and need something, the truck hasn't come in or something like that. So I know I'm a handsome dude, but you're probably tired of seeing me already, so I'm gonna hit pause and paint a little bit. So just stand right by, you'll fade into the next section. All right, so I do have enough paint to do the rest of it, and I'm gonna experiment here. I'm gonna see if I can speed this up, but I might tell you a story instead. So I think I'm a pretty fair artist. I've won a couple of awards and stuff back when I was younger, and I used to be able to paint pretty good and draw pretty good. And I had a, well, let me start here. I think that when you're a model railroader, you are a lot of things. You're an electrician, you're a carpenter, your critical thinking skills have to be above average, and you have to have some form of artistic talent, even if it's basic, you know, to do some of the things that we do. There's a lot of great model railroaders out there that encompass a lot of different skills, and all those skill sets are learned, you know, throughout life, because no one's just good at anything. You just kind of, you just do it enough where you get good, you know. So true story. When I was in high school, I took art, and like I said, I won some blue ribbons in some art shows, and like county art show and stuff like that. And my art teacher, I don't remember what her name was or is. I hope she's still around, but she absolutely hated me. And I'll tell you, the very first day of class as a freshman, I was sitting by my cousin Jeff, and these four girls were sitting behind me and Jeff, and they were talking. They were talking blah 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 blah, just whispering away. And I think I looked over at my cousin. I said, you know, this is going to be a fun class. And the teacher stopped her introduction speech and looked at me and said, you know, there's always one troublemaker in the class. And I looked at her and I said, so why are you looking at me? I said, I haven't done anything. She goes, well, you were just talking. I said, well, the girls behind me were just talking. I just looked at my cousin and said, this is going to be a fun class. And I tell you something, from that moment on for the next 3 years, she absolutely hated every single project I did. I think I only got a C in the class. And, you know, like I said, I won some awards, you know, and stuff like that. I did pretty good. And I think I'm still a pretty fair, you know, artist with most of the things that I do. And she actually came up with a test that went to the extent of analyzing brush strokes from Renee and I think it was Renee and Van Gogh and somebody else, because she knew I was too lazy to study, and you had to pass the test to get into the senior year of art class. And I think I'm pretty good at everything I do. I think I have a fair degree of artistic talent on this. I'm curious if she watched one of my videos, if she would say, you know what, that guy actually turned out all right, even though I picked on him. And the end of the story is, it got to the point where I was harassed so much that she called my dad. Now, I live with my dad. I didn't live with my parents. They were divorced. So I lived with my dad, and he was talking to her, and I'd already talked to him and told her, you know, hey, you know, she's got something against me. She literally picks on me in class. She got her favorite little group of girls. They talk and they do all kinds of stuff. I do one thing wrong, I'm sitting to the principal's office. And you know, my dad, he believed me. And we had a pretty good relationship, so he knew I wasn't lying. And because if I lied, I got my ass beat. I mean, it was a whipping. These were 80s, right? And so my teacher called and was talking to him and telling him all this stuff. And he's like, well, that's not the way I hear it. I hear that you pick on my son, and you do this, and you do this, and you do this, and you do this. And she ended up confessing that she didn't like me, and that she did do those things, but it was somehow my fault because I was lazy, because she picked on me and all this other stuff. And man, my dad made her cry. That was about the best, most happiest moment that I can ever remember of, you know, being a child. Was my dad had my back. She fessed up to being in the wrong, but I was still the bad guy. And then my dad turned around. I got my ass whooped too, so don't think I didn't. I got my ass whooped because I had an assignment due, art project due the very next day. And it was watercolor paints. And he told me, he said, you're going to sit your ass down at the kitchen table. You're not getting up. You're not going to eat. You're not going to drink. You're not going to do anything. You're going to, you know, do your art project, get it done before you do anything else. And so he walked outside to do something, go shoot some basketball to make me feel bad because I couldn't play. And I drew a picture of the NW 611, and I painted it watercolors based off of the old school Bachmann 611 box that the locomotive came in. And I had it done in maybe 2 or 3 hours. And he was like, wow, that looks really good. And I turned it in the next day. It got put in the art show and it won first prize. So I was just like, my dad was like, you know, it's hard to defend you when you're lazy and you can put out some decent work and all that. And, you know, that was a long time ago. But at the same time, I still remember a lot of stuff from those days. And I just hope that I'm a better artist, you know, now than what I was then. But I know I'm not. But someday I will be. Someday I will be. I'm going to attempt to paint some trees on a backdrop here. And I'm going to eventually do some light green and dark green hills on the wall that are reminiscent of, I want to say a mountain, but maybe like the foothills. And I think I hope it's going to turn out pretty good, you know, but we'll see. We'll see. Oh man, I got too much black in there. All right, let me reload and I'll bring you back here when I'm finished. All right. So I just finished up. I'm getting ready to go clean my brushes and my palette, or my brush and my palette. Green looks a lot better. Still a little bit more green than I want. I'm going to go to Hobby Lobby and see if I can find a darker green, or maybe a real light, like pea soup looking brown type of thing. And once again, you know, I won't know what this looks like till it dries, but I'm liking it. I like this. I wish that the wood grain was going the other way. It could flow with the water and I could put a rock there or something like that and highlight it and accent it. But I think it's going to look all right. Looking pretty decent so far. Got a little spot right there. I'll have to come back and touch up. And a couple spots here and there, but once again, it's still wet. You never know what it'll look like until it dries. So if you like this video, go watch another one. Go watch 2 more. I have redone my playlist where at one point I had done a water scene redo, which I'm about to pour the acrylic, or not the acrylic, I'm about to pour the epoxy for here in the next probably 3 or 4 days. I got cabinets going up in the kitchen. And I just put the first one up today, so I put about 4 of them up tomorrow. My wife will get off my ass for a little bit, and I'll have a couple of days I can come out here and do some work. And a lot of things going on the channel right now. So go check out those playlists. Go check out some of them older videos, and you can tell me whether or not I make a better video now than what I did a year ago. I think I do, but you never know. I might suck, but if I sucked, I think Dwight would tell me already. And you should know that Dwight, he holds no punches back when he wants to tell me something. And I don't know if it's that 11th Cav liquor that he drinks, or you know, them cigars he's smoking getting to him. I don't know. But he'll bust my balls in a second. So I think I'm doing fairly decent. So if you like this video, go watch another one. Hit that like button, or hit that little thumbs up. Hit that notification thing. Leave a comment. Love the comments. Comments are absolutely inspirational and motivational when I hit that low point, when I'm really tired of working on stuff out here. And, you know, if you've told me that I've inspired you to do something, I greatly appreciate it. That is so incredibly awesome that, you know, me just being my asshole self, I can motivate somebody and inspire somebody to, you know, follow a dream, live a dream, build a dream. And that's what all this is. I've dreamed about a giant model railroad ever since I was 10 years old probably. And now I'm working on it. So it took a lot of hard work in my entire life, but it is what it is. So like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Come back here in a few days. Go watch a couple more videos. Go check out those playlists. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much for watching.